Hi, Virgo. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for December 2019. For you, Virgo, this month begins with some fourth house activity in the arena of home and family, domestic life, heritage, and roots, and gradually turns into even more activity in your fifth house of creativity and self expression and fun and entertainment. Julia, I think you had some thoughts about Mercury, Venus, and Mars this month for Virgo.
Oh, I do, Jamie. Well, hey, Virgo. So let's talk about Venus first, that planet of art, relationships, and beauty. She begins this month in your fifth house, and that's the house of amusements, love affairs, and children. And Venus really loves to be in this house. It's known as the house of her joy to traditional astrologers. So that might mean that you want to go out and enjoy amusements with your partner if you're already in a relationship, like maybe go out to a club, go out to a concert. And if you're single, then it's a really great time for dating too. Virgo is a bit more of an artistic sign. Everyone always thinks Libra is the most artistic sign, but Virgo's got a little, I feel like, artisticness too. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
also a great time for creating things.
Mm.
And if you do have any children, this can be a really harmonious period in terms of you're relating to them. So that's really nice too.
That's sweet.
And then Mars is going to be in Scorpio all month
Mm.
in the third house, and that's the house of your local surroundings. It's also the house of communication and siblings. So wherever we have Mars is where we kind of apply more energy. So you might be expending more energy doing errands around your neighborhood, just kind of buzzing around your sort of local surroundings than just sitting at home. And Mars is also a bit of a combative planet at times, so you also might be a bit more prone to getting into conflicts with either your neighbors or your siblings too. So watch out for that.
Mm.
And then Mercury enters Sagittarius on December 9th, which corresponds with your fourth house, and that's the house of family and home. So when Mercury's in here, that means you might be spending a lot of time thinking about your housing situation in some way, because Mercury represents thought. So you might be asking yourself questions: should I move? What can I do to make my house more, enjoyable or a better expression of me? And you also might communicate more effectively with your family this month too, which can also be nice. Then Mercury enters Capricorn on December 28th, which corresponds again with your fifth house, that house of amusements. And it's also the house of games too, which Mercury really loves and does really well at. So if you play any video games, if you play any sports, if you enjoy any other type of fun, let's say bingo nights or something like that, then it's a great time for extra mental agility in the game.
Mm.
And if you do have children, again, this can be a great time to experience more open communication with them too. What else is going on this month, Jamie?
I love that stuff. And look at that big pile in the fifth house. How much fun
Yeah,
is that?
fun
Hey,
times.
Julia, what are your thoughts about? I think it's on the 19th. Venus moves into the sixth house. Could you say something about that?
So when Venus actually goes into the sixth house, that's the house of work, that's the house of health. It can be a nice time for health, or putting out any sort of more positive, pleasurable health routines, like enjoying meditation or enjoying a workout regimen. And since Venus it's a very social planet too. So as it goes through your sixth house of work, you could be getting along better with coworkers, and you could also be sort of more willing to be a team player, like work with a group of people versus just on your own at work too.
Oh, I like that. And kind of a sign of things to come, because after all these planets are done moving through Sag and Capricorn, they'll be gathering in that sixth house, probably next month.
Mm.
Mm. So, I want to talk about a couple of things. One of them is there's going to be a full moon in Gemini on the 11th. And here it is in the 10th house for you, Virgo. And a full moon tends to bring some big emotions, some sort of emotional intensity, you might say. But it's in Gemini, so a lot of that emotion is going to come out in the form of words. And words will probably fail. Words will probably feel like they're just not adequate to expressing all the emotion that wants to pour out of this full moon, especially because Neptune is here in a square with the moon and the sun. And that brings in a theme of, well, suffice it to say that this moon is saturated with a sensation of free floating anxiety. a sort of a, I'm trying to solve the puzzles with my mind, but I feel like I'm in a state of suspense and I don't really know what I should be thinking or how to figure this out, and I don't really know when it's going to end. And so there may be sort of the feeling of a kind of a holding pattern around this full moon, and that could pop up in your career arena. It could also pop up in your home arena, which is the fourth house. And it could pop up in relationships because Neptune is there. So I think this full moon is one to watch, and to be thoughtful and respectful, and listen warmly to other people's communications, and really do your best to kind of lob the ball back over the net, in terms of really hearing what other people are saying, even though they may be struggling and tripping over their words. So you may be having that experience anywhere between December 10th and the 12th. And we have a video about that full moon in our December news playlist. You might want to check it out. So later in the month, we have a new moon and also solar eclipse, which is happening on Christmas. So if you celebrate Christmas and you're going to be with family during this winter holiday, things could get rather intense. And I say that because an eclipse is a time when we are forced to look at our shadow. We're forced to look at stuff that we just don't look at every day, stuff that we kind of, push behind us. And but I have good news, which is that this particular eclipse involves Jupiter. And anytime a planet is connected with an eclipse, I call that planet a shadow agent, meaning, a sort of an agent of the eclipse supporting its process in showing us our shadow. And so Jupiter pretty much ensures that despite that we're going to be looking at our own dark side, that we can come out into the light. And you could be instrumental in sowing seeds of hope and optimism during this new moon solar eclipse. So that seems like, the best way to handle it. And if that's how things go at Christmas, well, I think now you know what to do. Now, this brings me back to that Jupiter, because I want to tell you that Jupiter is moving into Capricorn, and it hasn't been there for about 11 or 12 years. And that Capricorn being the sign of career and authority and self-discipline, every place that Jupiter goes, it spends a year, it's going to be a year in Capricorn, bringing growth and expansion to the career arena, to authority, to discipline, and also confidence. Now, this is great for you, Virgo, because this also happens to be your fifth house. It's an arena that feels pretty good. And so growing in discipline and structure and authority is going to expand you in wonderful ways. And so look for that to happen in the coming year. I think that because of so much fifth house activity going on, it's a wonderful time for just focusing on you and growing yourself and your identity and your sense of who you are. If you want help with that, you could get a natal and transit reading from one of us here at Pandora Astrology. We'd love to help you with that growth period, figuring out best timing for striking while the iron is hot during that. And also, this fifth house being a house of children, you might even consider a star child reading if you want to understand one of your children better and grow in your relationship with your child. So lots of good things can be done with that. Jupiter growth is a wonderful thing, and it's a great thing to take advantage of. Goodness, I think that's all we have for you today, Virgo. I hope you enjoyed it. You can always find our horoscopes on YouTube, gathered into playlists by month. And the December news playlist will have videos that say much more than we can today about the full moon in Gemini and the new moon solar eclipse, and also that Jupiter passage. And yeah, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye.
Bye-bye.